The Last Signal. Part 1. The Calm Before the Storm. The stars twinkled brightly like scattered diamonds against the dark velvet backdrop of space, a sight more breathtaking from the isolated cliffs of the Celestria Observatory, where Dr. Maya Elwood spent her nights deciphering the cosmos. For her, there was nothing more exhilarating than unraveling the mysteries of the universe, each light year a pathway to new possibilities. She had devoted her life to understanding celestial phenomena, tirelessly analyzing data that could lead to breakthroughs in astrophysics. The hum of the observatory's machinery filled the air around her, a soothing constant in an otherwise unpredictable world. As the lead astrophysicist, she bore the weight of responsibility, not just for her research team, but for the fragile threads that held their technological world together against an impending cosmic event. The scientific community had been abuzz with predictions of a rare and powerful solar flare, nature's unpredictable fury that was slated to wreak havoc on Earth's communications. In anticipation, the team at Celestria was bracing for the storm. Paperwork on the desk was scattered like leaves in a gale, and the bright glow of screens cast long shadows as fellow researchers discussed preparations. Dr. Elwood Jake Callahan, her research assistant, called from the back of the room. His brow was furrowed, a hint of urgency in his voice. "You need to see this." Maya's heart raced as she moved to his station, intrigued by the urgency that pierced through the usual hum of research banter. What could possibly be more pressing than the solar storm? "We're picking up a signal from Proxima Centauri," he gasped, his eyes wide with excitement as he gestured at the array of fluctuating lines and graphs on his monitor. It's strange." Maya leaned in. Proxima Centauri, her mind raced with implications. The distant star system held the potential for Earth-like planets, promising the exploration of unknown realms. "Can we isolate it?" she asked, her excitement matching his. "Trying," Jake replied, fingers flying over his keyboard. The numbers danced across the screen. "It almost seems like it's repeating a sequence. It's not typical noise." Just then, another researcher, Dr. Simona Leclerc, walked over, squinting at the screen. "What do we have?" Her tone was a mix of skepticism and curiosity. "An anomalous signal from Proxima Centauri, patterns indicating possible artificial origin," Maya explained, her own breath hitching with awe. "If it's not a natural phenomenon." The idea lingered in the air, tantalizing like a whisper from the cosmos. Could they be on the brink of contacting extraterrestrial intelligences? The thought sent shivers down Maya's spine. "Let's decode it," Maya commanded, full of determination. They would work through the night, fighting against the relentless clock ticking toward the solar flare. Her heart raced not just from apprehension but hope, the eternal optimism that drives scientists toward the unknown. Part 2. The Dilemma. As hours ticked by, the atmosphere in the observatory grew electric with anticipation. The more they studied the signal, the clearer the patterns became, sequences of numbers, symbols recurring in rhythmic intervals. Maya directed the team efficiently, her leadership skills shining amidst the chaos. "Here. This part of the signal, it's repeating every 12 seconds with variations," Jake shouted, excitement infusing his voice. "It's like a code." Maya's mind raced. This was not merely a cosmic fluke, it was a potential communique from another civilization. They worked tirelessly to chart the frequencies, constructing a map of the signals that flickered on their screens. But every breakthrough brought a shadow. The solar flare was closing in, and the observatory's sensors warned them of the impending chaos. Dr. Elwood, Simona called, her face pale. "We're going to lose power. The flare is going to disrupt everything." a knot formed in Maya's stomach. She faced a moral and scientific dilemma. Should they continue to focus on decoding the message that could change humanity's course forever, or should they prioritize warnings to the government about the incoming solar storm? She glanced at the clock, counting down the hours, then back at the screen displaying the wondrous signal. Gather all our findings. I'm sending an alert about the flare. We must warn them, but we can't stop working on this signal, Maya decided, her voice firm. The team sprang into action. Amidst the frenzy, hearts raced, not merely out of fear of the storm, but from the exhilaration of discovery that coursed through them. For Maya, this was more than just scientific rigor, it felt like destiny. Part 3, Decoding the Message. The observatory shook as the first tremors of the solar flare hit, the reverberations a premonition of chaos just beyond their control. Maya felt a rush of anxiety, but her focus held steadfast. Let's break down the signal, she instructed, calling the team to close ranks around her. The screens displayed erratic patterns, their analysis needed to be more adaptive than ever. Sweat beaded on Jake's forehead as he manipulated parameters, trying to decipher nuances amidst crackling equipment. It's almost like there's something hidden. If we align the frequencies. Right here, in the fourth dimension of the signal, it's like a countdown to something. A flicker of dread crept into Maya's mind. What if this was not an invitation? What if it was warning? Can you isolate that part? Almost. There. Jake's voice rose above the din of alarms as the screen cleared, revealing a clearer structure. The countdown shimmered ominously on the monitor, seeming to taunt them with its finality. We need to know what it leads to. What are those coordinates? Maya prompted. Doing that now. Jake said, focusing intently. As the countdown continued, tension surged. The power fluctuations in the lab became more pronounced, soft lights dimming and flickering ominously. Maya felt the weight of time pressing against her shoulders, urgency propelling her forward. Suddenly, Dr. Leclerc's voice broke through the intensity. We've lost several primary systems. We may not be able to sustain the equipment long enough to decode it fully. In that moment, Maya made a choice. The risk would have to be taken. We have to transmit a message back. Whatever it is, it's vital. Part 4, The Countdown. With the solar flare roiling overhead, the observatory became a scene of frantic activity. Maya, if we lose power completely, we won't be able to send anything. Jake shouted, his fingers dancing over the keyboard. We don't have much time. Maya replied, setting her jaw. Jake, focus on sending the last sequence we decoded. It's important, we might not get a second chance. In a wild cascade of commands, he initiated the transmission, a pulse of frequencies aimed at Proxima Centauri. The screen flickered, displaying a final image, the countdown blinking steadily closer to 0. The equipment shuddered, alarms blaring as the laboratory trembled with the force of the solar blast. Klaxons echoed through the hallways, and sudden darkness enveloped them as systems began to fail. Hold it together. Maya yelled above the uproar, rallying her team. We can do this. Just as Jake managed to stabilize the equipment for a brief moment, a response pulsed back through the speakers, an echo of their own said signal, harmonic and flawless. It sounded like music. At that moment, Maya's heart leaped. What does it mean? Simona's voice was tremulous with awe and fear. I don't know, Maya whispered, staring, mesmerized. Indeed, it was as if the universe itself was responding, reaching back to them through the void. An understanding transcended language, unifying their disparate souls through cosmic threads. As chaos erupted around them, the ancient urge for connection, for understanding, surged through her veins. Part 5, The Revelation. The laboratory thrashed with pulses of energy as the solar storm raged overhead. Sparks flew, and the floor shook. Maya shielded her eyes, feeling the tumult of the universe converging on that single moment. Discovery mingled with devastation. Dr. Elwood. Jake's voice cut through the din, shattering the spell. We should evacuate. We can't stay here. No. Maya replied fiercely. We can't turn back now. This signal, this response, could change everything. We owe it to humanity to at least try. The last bits of power flickered in the observatory like a dying ember, racing against the clock that seemed to echo the relentless beat of the countdown. Jake met her gaze, weighing their chances. But the determination in Maya's eyes set the course for them. They were not merely scientists, they were pioneers at the brink of understanding, on the threshold of cosmic communion. In the chaos, Maya felt an overwhelming determination. They might be obliterated by this solar storm, but they had already made first contact. As the last vestiges of power began to drain from the machines, a final thunderous roar echoed through the space. Then, just as quickly, silence enveloped them. The lights dimmed, leaving them in darkness, caught in the breath of eternity. Part 6, Closure. When the storm passed, uncertainty hung in the air like a heavy fog. Slowly, the emergency lights flickered back to life, illuminating the battered observatory, equipment strewn about, papers scattered like fallen leaves. Maya stood amidst the disarray, her heart pounding in her chest. Jake emerged from the shadows, worry etched across his features. Dr. Elwood, are you okay? Yes, she breathed, a smile forming despite the fatigue that pulled at her limbs. We did it. We sent a message into the void, and it echoes back. They heard us. But what did it mean? Simona asked, stepping forward, her eyes wide with wonder. For a moment, Maya paused, reflecting on the strange, beautiful response that had pulsed through the speakers. I think it means we're not alone. The universe is full of possibilities, and this is just the beginning. As they gathered to assess the damage, the future shimmered before them, unclear, yet ripe with potential. They had braved the unknown, glimpsing a destiny that no one could have predicted. Maya looked up at the stars, the endless expanse shimmering above. Perhaps they would never fully grasp the signals the cosmos sent, but what mattered was their courageous pursuit of knowledge, the leap of faith into the abyss, and the hope that bound them together. And as they stood there, united in their unquenchable thirst for understanding, an unspoken promise radiated within their hearts, that the quest for knowledge and connection would continue, undeterred by time, distance, or the ever-looming specter of uncertainty. Together, they would embrace the mysteries of the universe, hand in hand, ready to decode its countless whispers and song.